Now I kind of skipped over here in the beginning when I was talking about the display. We took a look, you saw a little bit of the UI, so we'll talk a little bit more about that. On the Octane, it's a pretty standard UI, so you have this main home screen here, 2 soft keys. You can see that selection in the middle of that. You can use the OK button to get to it. So messages, contacts, and then we go to the menu, and you can see basic Verizon options, so Bing search, messaging, recent calls. You do have mobile email. You're going to have to pay for data for that. Media Center, where you can get to that VCast music that I talked about, and games. There is also a web browser, as you saw in that menu, and you know, it's fairly decent. I wouldn't recommend doing a lot of web browsing on it, but if you're going to view sites that can be viewed as HTML sites, you know, just basic, you know, like mobile version, then yeah, it'd be okay for that. But even then, you know, I wouldn't really recommend it for a lot of web browsing. And then you do have Social Beat and VZ Navigator. You know, again, it's very basic. You have the main menu selections with another menu, and then just the home screen. And then you saw the menu that you can access from the external display. Now, the Cosmos Touch is a little more interesting. You know, first of all, when you unlock the screen, you can see you get to slide to unlock, which is pretty fun. You have this main display here with different widgets that you can add to it, and then I can add others from a full list. And you can see it's a pretty long list. Search, settings, sound settings, notepad, new contact. So it's a pretty long list. You know, obviously all of those, like new contact, you probably won't add that to the home screen, but you do have a lot of options. You can add those here. Now if you slide to the left, you have access to your favorite contacts. You can add contacts to this page. If you slide to the right, you have access to this sort of interesting page that kind of aggregates all of your messages, whether it be text messages, messages to Twitter. You can see Facebook, MySpace. So here I have, you know, a conversation I had through Twitter where I was setting up my account, but you can also just send a message to Twitter and it will show up in the form of a profile update. So you can see that. Also a text message conversation that I had with myself. So, you know, it's definitely kind of interesting. And then, as you can see, it's easy to send updates to your different accounts once you get them set up. If you don't like that, you can also select this, which will take you to Social Beat, which is an actual app that, again, brings all of those accounts together: Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter. Social Beat is, again, an app that's available on the Octane. You saw that in the main menu, Social Beat. So they do both have those features, but the Cosmos Touch, I think it's a little more fun, a little more interesting, definitely brings it together in a more interesting way. Now you do have a notification bar at the bottom, shows you any missed calls, and then your dock, and then we have, again, the main menu where you have all your basic options. So the Cosmos Touch, its UI is definitely, you know, in my opinion, a lot more interesting, a lot more fun. And then you have the touch screen, which just kind of adds, you know, an interesting flavor to it. Now we'll get on to the physical keyboard because these are both messaging phones. And as you can see, they do have pretty different keyboards. The Octane, you know, because it's not a touchscreen, a large portion, or a portion of this panel here, is dedicated to directional arrows and a sort of D-pad with the OK button, clear, speaker, send, and end. So the keyboard is sort of offset to the left. The same is true of the Cosmos Touch, except these arrows are kind of integrated within the keyboard. They're not really, you know, set apart the way it is on the Octane. You can see they're kind of just within the keyboard. And I actually found that in testing, it was easier to use the Octane just because visually I could see, you know, the keyboard is here, this is where all the letters are going to be. It was just much easier to get used to, whereas the Cosmos Touch, it all kind of just blends in so well, and so it kind of, you know, took me a while to get used to it. Also, the period key is way over here, so it's kind of, you know, it may not seem that way. If you were to just look at it, you would think, well, she's just being picky, but I can tell you honestly from testing both of them out, it was just easier to use the Octane than it was to use a Cosmos Touch, for the fact that it's differentiated, it's set apart. You know, it's much easier to use, to get used to, and for my hands to just, you know, kind of feel the keys. Also, they do have sort of different textures. If we take a close-up look at the Octane's keys, you can see they're kind of flat, but they have a more solid feel to them. Very solid, very firm, but, you know, not too... you know, some keys are too firm to where you have to press, you know, too hard, and it's sort of a workout for your fingers. But just a good solid, as if it were a high-end device is what it feels like. Whereas on the Cosmos Touch, they're more slippery, they're smaller, and so it's just a little bit more difficult to type on. That's not to say that the Cosmos Touch doesn't have a great keyboard. In fact, you know, on PhoneDog's top messaging phones list, the Cosmos Touch is on there. You know, it's one of our top 3 messaging phones for Verizon. So it has a great keyboard, but I'm just going to say that the Octane is better. You may disagree, and if you're trying to decide which one to get, I would recommend just simply, you know, going to the store and testing both of them out if you can. Now lastly, we'll talk a little bit about the battery. The Cosmos Touch has a 1000 milliamp hour battery. The Octane has a 950 milliamp hour battery, so a little bit different there. You would think that the Cosmos Touch would be better, but actually the Octane had excellent battery life. I was very impressed by the battery life on the Octane. It lasted nearly a full week on standby, and with use, you know, generally about 3 days, you know, 2.5 to 3 days. So battery life on the Octane was excellent. On the Cosmos Touch, you know, it wasn't bad. You still probably get about 2 days of use out of it, but it just wasn't as good. It didn't perform as well as I would have thought, you know, having a 1000 milliamp hour battery. That's probably just because it has the touch screen, you know, and the little bit larger display. You're going to be doing a lot more with it because it has a touch screen. And so, you know, but I'm just going to say the Octane definitely had a much better battery life. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's the Octane versus the Cosmos Touch, and in the end, you know, it's really up to you which one you prefer. Do you want the touchscreen? Is a touchscreen not really that big of a deal to you? You know, do you want the 3.5mm headphone jack, or does it really not matter? Do you want a better camera, or is camera not a big deal? In a lot of ways, you know, it depends on what you want. Now, pricing is a little bit different. The Octane is about $100 on contract. It's $99.99. And the Cosmos Touch, it's about $80 on contract, $79.99. So $80, $100, you know, you can decide which one you prefer. You know, both of them look great. The Cosmos Touch does have a great physical design, but the Octane just feels more solid, and it looks like a more expensive device because it is a more expensive device. You're going to pay more, and basically you get what you pay for. So anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching, and thank you for listening to me and my cold. I'm very sorry about that, but I got the video up, so, you know, you're welcome. If you have any more questions, you can follow me on Twitter. My screen name is It's My Job to Know. Also, be sure and check out phonedog.com for more news, updates, and reviews. If you haven't already, we are giving away 100 tablets on our Facebook page, facebook.com/phonedog. There are only 6 days to enter from this date. So if you're watching this, you know, after 6 days from now, then, you know, I'm sorry, it's already over. But if you're just now watching this the day it was posted or within a few days, go to our Facebook page, enter the sweepstakes, and that's all you have to do. You can enter up to 6 times or 7 times, and your odds go up every time you enter. So do that, and check out phonedog.com for more news. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm Sydney, and I'll see you guys later.